a family of 4. Raccoon Sprout, Urban Moon, Mudkit, and Willow'Kit. They were all asleep in a den. Raccoon Sprout snoring loudly. And it was quite peaceful until Mudkit kicked Willow'Kit. She didn't notice it until a few seconds later. Raccoon Sprout and Urban Moon were still snoring until she got up. She growled and went into... Raccoon Sprout was about to go back in the den when she noticed Willow'Kit leaving. When he noticed Willow'Kit leaving, "Come back here," he thought. But she wasn't going to, at least not yet. But then she thought, "I should probably get Mudkit and bring him with me," she said, and then she leaped back down into the den. But he was already gone. But he rushed back in the second she dropped down. He seemed to fall asleep, lie down. He lied down immediately. Then Willow'Kit said, "Come on, Mudkit, let's go." She ran off, Mudkit on her tail. She really didn't know what to do, but then she saw her mother, Urban Moon, hunting. She crept through the tall grass and leapt onto a rabbit, biting its throat. She then shook the life out of it. "Mama's a good hunter," Mudkit said. Willow just rolled her eyes and said, "I bet I could do better." Mudkit blinked, confused, and said, "No, you couldn't." Urban Moon rushed to Mudkit's side. But Willow'Kit was already gone before she could hear anything that they said. She saw a dead vole, a rotting vole, on the ground and picked it up, pretending she had hunted it. She then waited for her family to come looking for her. They all came, Mudkit last, saying, "So fast, my little legs can't carry me like that." Though it did take a while for him to get there. Urban Moon looked at the vole. "I found it dead, but I hunted it. Yes. Willow'Kit muttered. Urban Moon looked at it, dropped the rabbit and looked at it. There was silence. Willow'Kit looking back at the vole, and just Urban and Mudkit staring at her. Then Urban Moon said, and gagged, "Oh dear, that smell." Mudkit then said after, "No, you didn't, it's rotting." Willow'Kit then got quite mad, and, she glared at Mudkit. "Fine," and ran off, back to the den. Her family was quite nice, though. To her, she felt not. She made it back to the den and lied down for a bit. Then she waited for her parents to come back, and waited, and waited, and waited. Some days, an hour later, she went to go look for them. No one there. So she headed back to the den to sleep for a while longer, thinking, they have to be back soon, right? With the rabbit, and I can eat, and Mudkit, I can tease Mudkit. she thought, unworriedly. It'll be fine. Then, after the next day, she ran out of the den. She thought, they're not coming back. I'm never going to get that rabbit. She ran off and found a place. She was pretty sure her parents called it Four Trees. And they said that clans all gathered there to talk. And this was a lucky day. She saw some clans. They're all together talking. She recalled the names of each leader. Vine Star for Thunder Clan, Tall Star for Wind Clan, Plain Star for River Clan, and Amber Star for Shadow Clan. She noticed they were finishing the gathering, thinking, I missed it. She left back. She went to the side of the river, bored, not sure what to do. She trotted along it for a while, and then went back to the den. She didn't know what she was going to do with herself. She stopped at the den for a second and went back. Maybe she could live on her own. But she decided she would go and sit in the riverside and think about it. What was she going to do? She'd no one with her, but she could learn to hunt. She decided to take one more look around the forest for her parents. Maybe they're back at the den today, she thought, running back. No one was there. She sighed and then ran back into the den. This time, a few moons later, she was now Willow'Kits. Her parents had told her that her next name would be Willow'Kits, and she would be an apprentice. She went back to the gathering, the Four Trees, and looked around. No cat was there. There were just nothingness. She sat and watched for a while, for thinking, there's really no one in the world anymore, she thought to herself. And then she ran to the riverside, running across it, running past it for a while, and thinking, I'm never gonna have anyone in my life again, she thought. She had a few tears dripping down her eyes. Her parents had told her her next name would be Willowleaf, but she decided against it. A few moons later, her name was Willow. Willow was an adventurous cat. Not very much later, she decided to go and explore, just to run through the forest, until it ended up bringing her to the one, the only clan, Shadow Clan. But she didn't know this yet. She just knew it was a clan. She didn't think Shadow Clan, Thunder Clan, Wind Clan, or River Clan. She just knew it was generally a clan. She circled around it for a while, looking at what the cats were doing. They seemed to be all gathered under a rock. One of them she was sure was called the High Rock, and she didn't really know the others. She had only learnt one, because her parents had left too early. But she decided to trot into camp, interested in what they did. Then suddenly thought to herself, what if I joined? Then she shook the idea off her. No. She couldn't betray her family like this, but she would have a family. She said no to herself multiple times. Multiple times herself thought, yes. But no. She sat, waiting for, she was pretty sure what they were called was a leader. She trotted over and sat down and stood there thinking, well, what am I going to do? Will one of them notice me? She shook her head. No, none of them will notice me. I'll just be another clan cat, standing here and watching, she thought. Just standing here and watching. But she looked around and noticed that all of them were staring. And she then thought, well, when are they gonna come and talk to me? Then a cat came and faced her, her eyes narrowed aggressively, though she had the rest of her face calm. She sat down. Willow watched her with interest. Were all these cats so small? Then she looked around. No, none of them were small. She looked down at the small cat. Hello. Then the other cat said, hello, back in a cautious, though interested voice. Willow just stared down at her. Were all these cats not scared of a giant cat like her? But then she asked, this is a clan? The smaller cat then said, yes, and she was surprised that the small cat didn't flinch at all, not even move, except flick her ear under Willow's gaze. Interesting, Willow said under her breath. The smaller cat looked up to her and suddenly said, Shadow Clan. To, be exact. Willow just looked down at her. Wow. Shadow Clan. She nodded as if she knew, though she really didn't. Willow looked down at a small tree. There were tons and tons of larger cats around her. Why couldn't she talk to someone bigger and stronger and probably more talented? But no, she was stuck with this small cat, or kitten maybe, Willow thought. The she-cat's ears flicked and her whiskers curled as though she was waiting for something. Willow stared down at the cat, waiting for her to say something. Neither of them said a word. Suddenly, the small she-cat's jaws tensed. Willow almost laughed. It was like the she was trying to look strong and brave. Suddenly, a thought struck Willow, but she decided to think about it. And so they had a long long staring match. Because apparently that's what cats do. Then Willow suddenly said, I have a question. The small she-cat said. Then Willow took a deep breath and asked, could another cat possibly join this clan? The small cat stopped staring at Willow, probably thinking something along the lines of, this cat wants to join Shadow Clan. The smaller she looked her up and down, then suddenly narrowing her eyes again. Willow looked down at her in confusion. So the smaller she shook her head. Yes, for some reason the small she seemed to have to stop and think for a moment. Willow looked around at the other cats. Why was she taking so long? Then the cat said, you would have to ask Aristar. Yet, I suppose he's just... She said the last part under her breath. Willow looked down at the she and simply made the sound of and then looking away. She didn't really know what to do with herself now. She could always just go explore the camp. And then she noticed Aristar. She recalled the small cat saying. And then the small cat suddenly said, I suggest you stay out of camp. Willow tilted her head and then smiled. Sure. Until trotting over to Aristar. She still hadn't got the name right, as she'd guessed. Then Aristar suddenly said, meeting! They yelled over the clan, though no one came. Aristar, she said, suddenly remembering the last bit of his name. She really had to work on her memory. Era was ignoring her, and then Era yelled again. Clan meeting! Her voice seemed to go higher and higher with the last few letters of the word. Willow then got up on the rock as Era wasn't listening. Excuse me. And then she stopped. And the little sea bounced up beside her. Aristar has to go to the Moonstone and talk to StarClan. You'll have to wait, she said, trotting off. Sure, Willow said. Willow looked down at the sheep. So, she was in Shadow Clan, talking to a small she-cat when there were a bunch of big cats around her she could talk to. Why? In StarClan? Wait, no, she probably doesn't use that saying. The she-cat was definitely thinking she was crazy. And I'd say she was probably scared. Then the small she suddenly narrowed her eyes and then looked Willow up and down, then narrowing her eyes even more, probably confused. Yeah, that is okay. I've messed up. Oh no.